Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Tia.
And I'm your host, Koya.
Welcome to the Wig Life Podcast.
For wig lovers and wearers navigating life.
Because it's not just wigs, it's life.
Let's get into the episode.
All right.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Wig Life Podcast. It is February, so I want to say happy Black History Month. And it is also the month of love, you guys.
Heart.
Yes. We have a lot of good topics that we're going to be talking about this month.
Yep.
And since Valentine's Day is coming soon, we wanted to get into this because Tia, on your YouTube channel, you had a lot of people ask you questions. I think you went live, right? And you were talking about wigs and relationships.
Yeah, so basically we're going to be talking about wigs and relationships, and I was getting questions in general because I think I did a car vlog about, when I was dating.
Yes.
So I had been dating. I've been with my partner now 3 years, but I was dating and I was already wearing wigs, so people were kind of asking, like, how do you do it? Like, what do you do? When do you do? So what I thought would be good is on my community tab and in my Facebook group, in my Tia Maria Wigs Facebook group, I sort of asked, like, what are the questions you have around intimacy, dating, sex, with regard to wig wearing.
Yeah.
So we're just going to go through all the questions that the community has asked, their concerns, their fears, and we're going to answer them all in this episode.
Yeah.
I would say in general, we're pretty family friendly, but we are going to be talking about some adult stuff. So if you have kiddos in the room.
Yeah, this might be a good time to share. Just maybe if you're listening.
Put your little headphones in.
Yeah. Or come back to it.
Yeah.
If you can.
Save it for later.
Yes.
We're going to be answering these openly and bluntly. We're going to have a real conversation about the things that I think women get a little, we really want to know these things.
Sure.
And someone needs to answer them.
Yeah.
Right? All right. So why don't you just start and read one of the questions or concerns?
So this person is just saying, basically they recently lost their hair and they've been married for 10 years, and that their husband is very encouraging towards her, wearing her different wigs and style, and that she's having fun with it. I know from my own personal experience, when I met my husband, I didn't wear wigs.
Okay.
And so I wore weaves or extensions sometimes. And then I got into full-blown wigs, and he really didn't like it at first.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he didn't like it. He's like, I love your hair. Like, you have beautiful hair. I love your hair. Why can't you just wear your hair?
You're like, well, part of it's extensions.
Yeah, right. So, and even when because when I met him, I really didn't wear anything, now that I think about it. Here and there, I put extensions in. But anyway, so he didn't like it. He was like, oh, my gosh. Now he's gotten used to it and embraced it. But, I mean, I could see how that could be a challenge. If something happened to your hair, or with your hair starting wearing.
Or have you been together?
We've been together 17 years.
So he's had a standard of how you have looked or not worn wigs for like a long time.
Yeah. So when I started wearing them, I think it was just first he just felt like, you have nice hair. Like, why? I think in his mind, he didn't understand why I was wearing wigs. And so some of you listening or watching may have experienced that, like they may not understand why. But once, I explained to him it's protective styling, it's fun. I don't want to, because I was putting a lot of color and doing a lot of stuff from hair, I don't want to damage my hair. Right. And then I also tend to be a little bit more riskier when I do my wigs. I'll wear like a vibrant color, which is a bold color. Fun. Yeah. So I think too, he's like, oh my goodness. So I have bought wigs that look more like my natural hair. So I say that all to say, if you are a person who is having to wear wigs, maybe, because you've lost your hair or losing hair, or a situation like that, maybe your husband you're wearing them for fun and your husband doesn't like it. I tried to also get some units that looked like my hair that I wore to get them used to it. Yeah, to like kind of transition and help them, not be so drastic and so much of a change. So I did that too. So that's something, a person can do too.
Well, I think that's, even when we were talking about, and we've had episodes where we were talking about like wig confidence and advice when you're first starting to wear wigs.
Yeah.
I think that's important for then it's the same thing of like when we said sometimes when you put on a wig for the first time,
yes,
you're like not used to what it looks like.
Well, seeing yourself.
The people in your life aren't either. So with my partner and I was already wearing wigs. We met on online dating. And so I had pictures of myself on online dating in all kinds of wigs. And I did that on purpose because being a wig reviewer, I was always wearing different wigs. And so I wanted the person to know, like, I don't know what wig I will be wearing when I meet you. And
that's good.
So I had pictures of me wearing all different kinds of wigs and also pictures of me without my wig. Because also people thought it was like I was catfishing because all the pictures were different.
Oh,
so that was I was like, I'm a wig coach. I have a YouTube channel. I do this. I do wigs. You know, I have alopecia, like all this stuff. And I know we'll get into this more because this is a question. It's like, when do you tell them and things like that. But so in my relationship, it was always a thing. So he never knew me. Like I don't wear my wig around him all the time in general anyway. Yeah. But meeting me, that was part of the deal from the beginning.
Yeah.
And I think it was good because then, you know, it was not something that I had to like explain or anything. It was like, you're not even going to go on a date with me if this is something you don't like.
That's smart.
I do know some people who are saying, and we'll get to that when their question comes up. You know, I had one person in the group share that once she told the person that she was talking to online, like that she wore wigs, the guy stopped talking to her. You know, I kind of was like, yes, it hurts, it sucks, but in general, if you're online dating in general, I've done a lot of online dating, you have to understand too, it's not personal. Like if they've never met you and they don't know you and they stop talking to you, it could be for 1,000 reasons. They could be talking to multiple people at once. They just click with somebody. Maybe they get back in the relationship. I have found that out later on. The person I was talking to was out of a relationship. Sometimes they get right online real quick and then they end up working it out.
Yeah.
Or, you know, they want a certain thing, but it's like they're not rejecting you because they haven't met you.
Yeah.
And if you tell them you wear wigs and this person has a hair loss, if you tell them you wear wigs because of hair loss and they stop talking to you, well, then it's a good vetting process then.
Yeah. I was just going to say that was just going to be my point is you'd rather know sooner than later, especially if this is something that you do, you know, you're wearing wigs for something like that. You don't want to be with someone who's not going to be sensitive to that and supportive of that. So, you know, I'd rather know before we even go on that first date than 2-3 months down the line, maybe we're feeling each other and then I tell you, you know, this is what's going on with me. I wear wigs and you're like, oh, that's a no for me. Like that would be really hurtful. So yeah. I think
then that would feel like a personal rejection.
It would, absolutely. So I definitely think that's smart. And I hope that if you are dating out there online and you are wearing wigs, that you have the confidence, because I know a lot of people don't have the confidence to maybe post pictures like you did, showing, you know, your hair, showing the different
I was
looks.
just like, I'm not playing.
Yeah. I'm with you. Like, especially at our age, I feel like, look, I don't have time for the games.
Listen, I'm over 40. I have a child. I have this. I have that.
Yeah.
Like, if wigs is going to be the thing that bothers you, like,
see you later now. But I do think if you have the guts,
there's plenty of more on here that are giving me a little high five.
Exactly. I definitely think I would say sooner than later. That would be my thing too. I would say, you know, I would put it out there sooner than later, because if that's the thing that's going to be like,
that's what I'm saying. It's a good vetting process.
Yeah, if that's a deal breaker, then let's go ahead and get broken. Let's break this thing down now.
And it was funny because someone had asked Jeremy, like, doesn't it bother you? And he was like, no, I literally get to date a different girl every day. Like, why am I bothered by that?
Exactly.
He's like, I want a redhead today. I want a blonde. He was like, it's kind of fun. He's like, I never know what she's going to look like.
Yeah.
So he's just like, why would it bother me that she looks beautiful? She looks different every day. Like, he's like, not bothered at all.
See, and that's how this woman was saying her husband is. And my husband grew to that. Now he's like, ooh, okay, this one, now he'll critique me. Ooh, you wearing that one again? Wear the other one. That one was more fun. You should spice it up a little bit.
Today. He was like, oh, you're going to wear that one?
Yeah, he's like, you wear that. You should wear the other one. That one looks kind of the same as the last one you wore. Like, change it up.
He's funny like that.
He's very funny. He is very opinionated. But, so, you know, I think, you know, just over time, in communication, you know, is important whether you have a wig, wear wigs or not in a relationship. So I think the sooner that you can communicate that and get their feedback, and it might be something like how my husband, he had to like slowly grow into appreciating it. You know, maybe maybe it won't be an instant thing, but if you're dating and as time goes on and they see that you're wearing the wig and it's not that big of a deal. It's not going to fall off, or, people aren't going to be staring at you guys for 4 hours. Yeah, because I think
they have the same fears that we do when we first started wearing wigs. Yeah. But yeah, so that's, I think, where we're at with that.
So in this one, they were saying that they haven't dated anyone in an extremely long time, and that it's tough. They've had quite a few men reject them because of the wig wearing, and they're too embarrassed to be seen in public with her. She says there's only been one. So what would you recommend, since you have dated more? Because I haven't dated as a wig wearer, so I feel like you're the expert on this one. What would you suggest to someone if they, are kind of already dating a little bit, and then they tell them, and that's the deal breaker?
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you, like. So I have a degree in applied behavioral sciences. I have a degree in a master's in psychology, and I did finish half of my PhD. The reason I say this is, like, this isn't just coming from, like, my opinion.
Yes.
I'm also looking at it psychologically and just in behaviorally how we interpret. Yeah. And you and I were even talking about just, like, over text. Yes. So my one thing would be, I would probably back it up a little bit and ask them if they actually, I know it feels like a rejection, but were they actually rejected? I would be interested on what that interaction was. And so are you bringing something on, like, these people are rejecting me because I wear wigs and they don't want to be seen with me? But did they say that? Or do we interpret that based on, do you see behavior? What I'm saying? Yeah. I have a habit of, because I had studied behavior, I'm pretty good at reading people. I really am. But, like, my partner does get annoyed sometimes because I will say, well, you said this, this, and this. So this means that you think or feel this, this, and this. In a general sense, that probably is true. But he's like, in this scenario, no, that's not what I meant. Right? Yeah. And so I would say, especially if you're online dating, wig wear or not, but if you're online dating, like, be careful about reading into things, especially if your communication has been wholly text.
Oh, yeah.
So
things get lost in translation.
I would almost wonder if it actually was an actual rejection, or if you do have to consider when you are online dating, especially if you're online dating or just dating in general, the dating process is a vetting process. Yeah. Like, the whole thing is a vetting process. Sure. So, again, really asking yourselves, are they rejecting me, or are they just uncomfortable with this thing? That would be true for any person they were dating. Yes. So a personal rejection is one thing. Yeah. Okay. But if someone's saying, I don't want to date someone that wears wigs because for me it would be uncomfortable, I'd have too many questions, it's kind of like dating out of your race. Like, some people,
people have preferences,
right, wrong, or indifferent. Like, should we all be colorblind? Yes. But if you're not, I don't want you to, I'm biracial if you're just listening, and I would have people, and it would hurt my feelings, but I would have people say, like, oh, I can't date, like, I want to date you, but I can't, like, my family wouldn't accept you. Wow. Do I want them to, like, fight against it and go, yeah, but, like, no, because, like, no, I don't want to further complicate my life. Right. So sometimes I think we need to look at that dating process in general as a vetting process. You're not going to be with all these people, right, so you got to weed them out somehow. Yeah. Well, they're doing the same thing. Right. And maybe that's just something too complicated, too outside of their comfort zone. And if they don't want to experience it, why pursue something where you're going to then get rejected? Do you see what I'm saying?
No, it makes perfect sense. I think it leads back to what we said at the beginning or at the top of the episode with, you don't want, and I'm a big proponent of that, especially, but I know if you're a younger listener, we are in our 40s, and I think sometimes, especially for women, it takes us a little bit longer to get confident in that because we are judged so harshly by what we look like, by society and standards. But I do think the sooner you can get there, the healthier you will be for your own self. You don't want anything that does not want you. Whatever all that entails, good, bad, ugly, all that. So if they are, for whatever the reasons, like you said, and I'm not saying they're a bad person, I don't believe that either, but if they're saying this experience or what, this wig wearing or whatever, it's too much for me, that's not the person for you. And don't waste your time or feel hurt, like you said, trying to, because you don't want to convince anybody. I don't think you should be trying to convince anybody that you're good. I think the person who you're dating should what's the word I'm looking for? Should know that. Should feel that.
Well, it should just be a good fit.
Yeah. So,
and the other thing is, again, I do think it's an interpretation thing. Yeah. Are they rejecting you because of the wigs, or did they just click with someone else more?
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Are we actually assigning something to something else that doesn't make sense?
For sure, in the group, there was someone and when I'm saying in the group, in the Facebook group.
Yeah, I remember.
And so
he was saying that she shared that she wore wigs.
Yeah, when she did that after that, there was no more communication.
The guy asked her the questions, like, why do you wear wigs? Yeah. See, to me, I think, this is me. Yes. I don't know, because I'm just saying from an outside point of view. I wonder if it was less about the wigs and more about the fact that she was wearing wigs for health reasons. Mm-hmm. If it was because that she had health issues. Mm-hmm. Because when I was married to my second husband, I found out I had cancer. Mm-hmm. I'm fine. I had surgery, but he was. I say he was younger than me. He was younger than me. I think he wasn't. But we never talked about it. He wouldn't talk to me about it. He wouldn't go to my appointments. He just sort of pretended like it didn't exist.
Wow.
And that was part of a breakdown of our marriage then, because I was like, what if I actually get sick? Some people cannot handle that. So that's the other question. Was he actually cutting off communication because of the wig wearing, or because she had a health issue that he wasn't sure he wanted to take on or handle? Which,
and either way it goes, like I said, I know I sound like a broken record, but it leads back to that's not the person for you.
Right.
Because
but my point is just the fact of, like, sometimes we think we know the reason.
Yeah.
Maybe this is his second marriage and his previous wife died of cancer.
Yeah.
Or had a long illness, and he's just like, look, I don't have it in me. And some people don't understand, like, even if, say you have alopecia, like, some people don't even really know what that means.
Right.
And, like, so sometimes it could just be, that's all I'm saying is open your mind up to the fact that it's not like you're being rejected, but that's not the right person for you. And if they're not capable, maybe you're someone who, you know, isn't interested in having children. Maybe you're someone who is not interested in raising someone else's children.
Yeah.
That's not a bad, like, I don't want to be in a relationship with someone. And frankly, when I was dating, I purposely would not date men with children, even though I had a child, because I didn't think I could handle, like, their kid's mom and their schedules that were based on another person, and if that relationship wasn't good, you know, if there was conflict, that would come into my life. I'm like, I'm already raising my child and he has a dad, like, that's already complicated. I don't want the complication.
More complications.
And people would say, like, well, isn't that hypocritical because you have a child? I'm like, no, I know what I can handle.
Yeah.
And I hope that person that I'm dating with understands that they can or cannot handle the fact that I have a child. So if they can't handle it, I don't, like you're saying, I don't want them, they're not my person then.
Yeah. I think it just leads back to that, you know. And I don't think there's anything wrong with, I think kind of society right now is in a place where a standard or preference or something that you want to embrace is like a bad thing. And I don't agree with that. I think you should be very clear about what you want, what you need, what you expect, what you're trying to do, what you want your life to look like, so that you're not wasting your time.
Or wasting
somebody else's time. So, yeah, I definitely think so. So what was another question that they had? I have all the questions.
You have the question. This one was more just general.
Okay. This one is saying, I'm struggling with self-confidence really bad. I have been looking into them thinking it may help me. And this is wigs that they're talking about. I'm truly desperate for anything. My mom wears them and says it helps her. Yet others I know don't get it and have made remarks. I love them. I think it would help me to try.
So I think what she's trying to say is basically, like, she wants to wear wigs, but the people in her life are seemingly already not cool with it. I guess that's kind of like the situation you were saying with your husband.
Yeah.
So what would you say if these person's like, look, I really want to wear wigs because I'm feeling uncomfortable, whether it's relationship or just people in your life, and they're already being like, no, you shouldn't be doing that. What would you say?
Well, first of all, I say you have to put what you need and want first. So if you feel like wearing a wig is going to give you more confidence, wearing a wig is going to make you feel more better, then you have to take care of you first. and feel good about you first. Then I would say have a conversation, because that's what I do with my husband. The fact of the matter is I express myself with my hair. I've put a lot of dye in my hair. I've cut my hair. I've done a lot of stuff to my hair. And over time, it just isn't healthy to be doing all that stuff to your hair, especially with the color and the dyeing and stuff. So that's one of the reasons why I wore a wig. And then I would put a lot of heat in my hair, which is also damaging. So when I explained to him what I was doing and why, I think that helped him, even though at first he still didn't necessarily, like, he wasn't like, okay, well, yeah, I love it instantly. He at least had some reference and understanding of, this is deeper than I just don't want to comb my hair, or I don't want to, wear my hair. This is, like I told him, you love my hair. What I'm doing is protecting my hair so that it can stay nice and stay beautiful, and I can still be the girl that you love forever. But I also want to express myself, and this is a way that I can do it that is in a more healthier way. And then I'll be honest, a lot of the times, especially when I first started wearing a lot of wigs, I wouldn't wear them around the house or with him. I just wore them maybe if I was out with my friends or whatever. And then after he got more comfortable, like I said, I started wearing more wigs that looked like my hair. And that helped him, I think, make that transition. So I would suggest to you, if that's how you feel, if you feel like it'll make you feel better, then put it on and have a conversation with them. And maybe if they understand what it is doing for you, if they truly love and support you, at some point they'll be able to come around and embrace it. Because I think when people truly love you, at the end of the day, they just want to see you happy.
Well, I think it's just a matter of they don't get it.
Yeah.
And maybe the goal isn't they're going to love it.
No.
Maybe the goal should be they're going to accept it.
Yeah.
So there's a difference.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Because like I said, my husband does not.
Maybe they will learn to love it, but that shouldn't be the like.
But he definitely embraced it, and he's like helping me pick ones and saying this one was cute. I think that one was better. Now, is he going to be like, yeah, get up today and put your wig on? No, he'll probably never say that. But like you said, he's accepted it and he understands, and he's like, hey, you're doing your wig thing. That one's cute. Wear your wig.
Right.
So I think, if you just really, because a lot of times people fear what they don't know. It's just honest to God. People fear what they don't know. Even like when I first started wearing wigs, my sister was wearing wigs first. And she was like, you need to just wear a wig, wear a wig, wear a wig. And I was like, girl, those are for grandmas and it's going to fall off. And I'm not about to be outside with my wig on the ground. But it came from fear and not knowing. And I've never had a wig fall off. Never. So I just think, pretty much, it's just about having conversations, and going deeper. Because like you said, I think a lot of stuff is surface. And if you have those deeper conversations with people,
people have ideas, they might have stigmas, they may have what's outdated understandings. I do feel like she was pretty eloquent in her post. I think if she actually said that to them, they might be like, oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Because I think once my husband got it, he was like, oh, okay, same kind of thing. Like, I'm damaging my hair. I'm putting straightening it with the heat all the time. I'm doing all this stuff to it. It's not going to stay healthy the way that I'm styling and doing all this stuff all the time. It's not going to stay healthy that way. So, definitely. I know people were, too, asking about, when it's time to get busy, having your wig on.
I think let's talk about. I think so I've had this question asked to me, and I had this experience.
Yeah.
A couple different times. Hopefully, Jerry's not watching this. No, I've had the experience. So I've had times when I left it on. I've had times when I didn't. I think in general, I look at intimacy that starts even before any type of sexual things.
Yes,
so
I agree.
For me, at this point in my life, I probably wouldn't be intimate with someone where I was like fearful of taking my wig off or like being uncomfortable, because like for me, then that means if I'm not, you know what I'm saying, then I'm not really comfortable with them like that anyway. But I had scenarios where I was wearing a wig and the relationship was new and they knew I wore wigs, but like in the middle of it, like it's like moving back and you're like, oh gosh. So I mean, sometimes I would just take it off because then I don't have to worry about that. there was a time where I was like, hold on, let me let me
I don't even laugh. Oh
let me
God.
fix it.
I'm just having a visual.
Because it was like going back, and I was like, wait, let me pull it forward. But for the most part, like, you know, like if I knew I was going to spend the night, I'd make sure I had the things that I needed to wear it or not wear it.
Yeah.
Even if it was like I wanted to like bring a hat with me or something, or like a scarf or something. Yeah. So I think in general, I mean, and if you really don't want to take it off, or like say it's like glued on or something like that, I would say prep. So clip it up maybe.
Smart.
Yeah, like braid it, clip it up, do something like that so that it's not as likely to get like pulled or caught underneath you or whatever. Also consider not being on the bottom, laying down, because then you won't like lay on it accidentally and pull down on it.
Right.
Sort of think of, you know, and then that could be fun.
That might be fun
to think of ways where you're not on your back so that it can't get pulled. And maybe just like any other time when you're being intimate with someone, set some boundaries. Just be like, yeah, I know you like my wig, but you can't.
Because that's what I was going to say. That was going to be my suggestion.
I've said that before. I'm like, I'm
like, you can't be pulling my hair. And so, So Hubs knows we can have fun, but you can't do that part. That's what
I would usually like braid it or clip it or something. Make sure I was wearing my wig grip that day if it wasn't glued down.
Yeah, because sometimes you can't always plan these things, right? Sometimes it's the moment, and
so that's what I'm saying. Clip it up quick and be like, listen, don't touch the hair.
Yeah,
and let's go.
Yeah,
but I do think in general, if you either still haven't told them you wore wigs, or you're not sure how they're going to take it, or you're not comfortable, you know, everybody has to make their choice. There's no judgment. But for me, I'm feeling like maybe that's not the person to get intimate with if you aren't even feeling like.
Yeah. It's funny you said that, because my next point I was going to say is, so I talked to my husband about this episode because I told him it was coming up. I'm like, okay, what are you comfortable with me talking about and saying, and what? And so I asked him, I was like, what if you were with a woman and you didn't know that she had a wig on, and you like grabbed her hair and it came off? What would you do? He was like, I would freak out. He was like, that probably would ruin it for me. And I was like, really? Why? And he was like, yeah, because I just think I would probably be like, just startled
out of the moment.
Yeah. He was like, I just think for me it would just be like, oh no, because he was like, I don't know if she's embarrassed, you know, am I embarrassed for her?
So the whole mindset kind of thing. Would shift.
So he was like, yeah, I would want to know. But I did ask him because I did want to know what a man, you know, thinks about that. I mean, not that he's the spokesman for all men, but I just wanted that input, and so I thought that was interesting. So it sounds like, you know, it probably is better.
Yeah, and I think that is interesting
for them to know,
because it's like, don't set them up either.
Yeah,
because, you know, if they do care,
yeah,
because like, that's what love he said. Someone,
he was like, I don't want to embarrass her. Like, he was like, he was like, it would just ruin it for me. I would be like, oh, like he was like, everything would stop, because I would
good to know.
I would be like, oh my gosh, like, you know, it's so many things I would be thinking. Is she mad? Oh my God, did I hurt her? Like, is she embarrassed? I'm embarrassed that I didn't know and I did that. Like, you know,
accidentally getting your wigs, depending on, especially if you have combs in or something, that can hurt.
It can hurt. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I never even really thought about it that way. So that's really good. Like, don't put them in a position to feel uncomfortable too.
Yeah. Yeah. So I definitely think, you know, kind of the bottom line is with the wig and dating thing is, and wig and relationships in general, you know, even like, you know, somebody like me, if you're already married and you go through something and now you transitioning into wigs for whatever reasons, you know, you just have to have conversations. Sometimes they're tough. Sometimes they might be uncomfortable, but I think the overarching theme is to have the conversations.
Yeah.
Have those conversations.
I think it all rolls into, if you haven't listened to our episode on like wig confidence and fears, I think this plays into it too. And maybe that's an episode to listen to along with this, because a lot of what we said in there, it applies.
Yeah. That's episode 3. Go back to episode 3 and listen to that. But yeah, I definitely think, you know, it's about a confidence thing, and, you know, you have to take
communication.
Yeah. Too. You have to take your own steps to get confident so that you can communicate what it is you're feeling, why you're wearing these for whatever reason. So I think the first key is to get the confidence, and then the second is, get that communication. Be really clear about what it is you want and you're doing and why. And I think at the end of the day, if that person loves and cares about you, they're going to be there for you. They're going to be there for you. All right. So that is it for this one. I hope you guys all are having a very great, or have a nice Valentine's Day if you celebrate that. And in our next episode, we are going to be actually interviewing each other because me and Tia both own businesses. So that is going to be excited. So if you want to know more about us individually and our businesses, these next 2 episodes, please stay tuned. And if you are listening, wherever you're listening, please go ahead and leave a rating and review. This helps for people to find the podcast. And if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. And also leave us a comment, you guys. I'm curious.
We like talking.
Yeah, because we really were excited about doing this episode when we were planning. At least I was, because it's something on YouTube. It's kind of hard, I think, to talk about. I think this format is a better way to talk about it. So we really want to know, what you're thinking. And thanks to all those ladies who shared their stories, who shared their stories, who are, who had the guts to answer, because like we said, that's the first key. So go back and listen to 3, get that confidence, and we will see you next Wednesday.
Bye.
If you enjoyed the episode and you'd like to help support the Wig Life Podcast, please subscribe and leave a rating or review wherever you like to listen.
To stay up to date with the Wig Life Podcast, visit our website and follow us on socials everywhere at Wig Life Podcast. See you.